everyone. Welcome to the Bridge the Gap series today. I'm Suki from Global Bridge, and today we're joined by the University of Sunderland to learn more about study skills and different types of things you can do to help your revision tactics. So over to Georgina for more info on this.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm Georgina, I'm from the University of Sunderland, and I've got Amber on the call as well. So Amber's going to be our tech support. So today we're going to learn about study smarter. So we're going to understand the importance of revision, explore a range of study skills techniques, and we're going to learn about strategies to handle exam pressure, both during and before exams. So here's it just in a different format. So we've got the importance of revision, learning styles, preparing material, exam time, and then top tips at the end. So first of all, why is revision important? So yeah, so we've got exam, we've got interviews. Depending on how old you are, you might be doing your driving test soon or in the next coming years. So you'll have to revise for your theory test and your practical test as well. Why should you revise? So the first time you write a paper, an essay, a story, or learn something new, the wording or notes might not be right. After you've let your writing rest for a few hours to a few days, rereading it might reveal that you have previously missed something or misunderstood. Perhaps some ideas could be stated more clearly, or perhaps too much detail is provided, which doesn't add to the overall effect. Maybe an important idea could be elaborated on, and so on. The word revision itself is helpful here to understand the reason for it. Revision or reviewing again may provide you with a better perception of your writing and therefore improve it. So it's important to revise early for a number of reasons. Studying for exams early means that you can take more time with your revision and avoid last minute cramming or rushing through your topics. So it means that the same amount of time can be allocated to each subject instead of leaning towards your favourite topics and avoiding the trickiest. I used to do this for my GCSEs. I always used to revise the topics that I loved, and then it was the ones that I didn't actually understand that needed a lot more revision than what I was actually doing at first. And it also helps you identify areas in which you aren't feeling as confident, and you can get help if need be. So one of the main reasons revising early is less stress. So there's no better feeling than being prepared for upcoming exams. Getting on with revision sooner rather than later means much less stress and anxiety, and it allows you to study at your own pace rather than all-nighters a week before the day. Revision and techniques are important. Some people like writing out the notes. Some people like using mind maps, for example, and colours. Or some people like to verbally, so like talk through concepts with friends as well. And then finally, exam techniques. Revising early allows more time to complete practice papers from previous years and get used to the format. There's a lot of practice papers out there, and I'm sure your teachers will show you where they are if you need some practice papers to revise with. So what I want you to do is I want you to get a piece of paper and a pencil. And what's going to happen is there's going to be 25 numbers that will appear on the screen, and you need to write down as many as you can after they've disappeared, okay? So you'll have 15 seconds to look at the numbers, and I want you to write them down um, after the 15 seconds has been. So I'll give you just a minute to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and then I'll go on to the next slide. So remember, you don't write them down when they're on the screen. Make sure they disappear, and then you write them down. You've now got 15 seconds to look at the numbers. Right, so now write down as many numbers as you can remember. Right, so once you've done that, just pop that paper to one side and we'll come and revisit it later in the session, okay? So this section now, we're going to be exploring learning styles and how to find a style that suits you the best and how you can set yourself up for success. So there's loads of different learning styles, and we'll go into this into more depth. But first of all, we'll just do a little bit about what they are. So we've got visual, so that's where you prefer to use pictures, images, and spatial understanding. You have audio, so those are people who prefer using sound and music. You've got this one here, so this is where you prefer using your body, hands, and sense of touch. You've got verbal, so that's when you prefer using words, both in speech and writing. You've got logical, so that's when you prefer to use logic, reasoning, and systems. So you might find like patterns between topics, for example. You've got social, so that's when you prefer to learn in groups or with other people. And then you have solitary, which is when you like to prefer working by yourself with no distractions. You might take yourself into your own bedroom or a place at home or wherever you live or a place in school and just pop some headphones in. You don't need to play any music, but just revise by yourself. The research shows us that each learning style uses different parts of the brain, and by involving more of the brain during learning, we remember more of what we learn. So again, using the piece of paper you used earlier with the number game, we're just going to do a quick quiz, and it's a multiple choice, and you have to write down the answer that's best fits you. Okay. So question one: which study scenario is best for you? A. Music playing softly in the background while you study. B. Talking with a group of friends about the course material. C. Creating a colourful brainstorming sheet with all the relevant information. D. Listening to recorded classes while taking a long walk. E. Reading assigned chapters from the textbook out loud. F. Searching for patterns in course materials. G. Preferring to study at home when the family members are out. You don't need to write the sentence down, just write down the letter, and then we'll tally up the letters at the end. Right, question two. You're not sure how to spell a word, what do you do? A. Listen to a recording of the word. B. Discuss with friends how they remind themselves to spell the word properly. C. Write down the word with each letter being a different colour. D. Spell the word on the large whiteboard. E. Spell the word out loud. F. Research the word's root, prefix, and suffix. If you just Google the spelling of a word, I would go for F because that's kind of the similar thing. And then G. Remove all electronic devices from your study session to better focus on the word at hand. So once again, I'll just give you a couple of minutes just to write down the letter. Right, next one. Question three. Which helps you focus most during long classes? A. Putting down your pen to focus on listening to what the teacher says. B. Having an impromptu discussion with the classmates sitting next to you when you don't understand a key point. C. Drawing out the concepts with a variety of coloured pencils. D. Squeezing a stress ball while you take notes or any other fidget toy. It doesn't have to be a stress ball. E. Taking lots of notes. F. Organising notes with each topic going on separate sheet of paper. And G. Sitting in the back of the room or in the corner away from as many classmates as possible. Right, question four. What happens when you are taking a test and you come up to a multiple choice question you think you don't know the answer to? Is it A, quietly reread the question to yourself out loud? B, look around to see if any other students are struggling with the test? C, make an attempt to reword the question with diagrams? D, tap your pen or pencil while thinking about the answer? E, rewrite the question in your own words? F, see if you can eliminate one or two proposed answers as definitely wrong? G, make a conscious effort to avoid seeing how other students are doing with their test. So have a little think about which one best describes you out of those letters. Question number five. When creating study aids, you prefer to, so like revision material, A, create or listen to audio recordings, or like a podcast or something like that. B, form a study group with your friends or classmates. C, create flashcards with colours or pictures on them. D, stand up and walk around as you memorise key concepts. E, create your own outlines. So that's like outlines of the topic. F, draw diagrams to show the relationship among certain subjects or concepts. And G, use any study aid or revision material that you must use by yourself. If, like me, you like to use like mind maps with different colours and linking everything together, I would go for option C. Question 6. You're waiting in the checkout line at the supermarket. What do you do? A, listen to the conversation between the cashier and the customer ahead of you. B, strike up a conversation with someone behind you. C, marvel at the colourful packaging of the sweets on the shelf next to you. D, tap your foot and click your pen. E, write down a to-do list for things that you need to get done when you get home. F, finally, mentally calculate how much your shopping bill will be. G, double check your shopping list to make sure you didn't miss anything. Now, I know some of you might not go shopping on a daily basis or weekly basis, but if you don't go shopping with whoever you live with at home or wherever you live, pick the option that you're most likely going to do. Question 7. You need to memorize a speech for your English class. You study by A, listening to a recording of the speech over and over again. B, practicing your speech with a friend. C, color coding certain portions of the speech, um, making sure one part is a certain color and that corresponds to each topic. D, chewing gum of a strong flavor while you practice memorizing the speech. E, giving your speech out loud in front of a mirror. F, creating a mnemonic device to help you remember the speech. If you don't know what a mnemonic device is, it's kind of like something that remembers you how to spell something or how you remember to do something. So, like because it's got a mnemonic, big elephants can always something small elephants. I can't remember what it was, but like something like that as well. And G, choosing a place to practice where there are few distractions and where you are completely alone. So pick which option is best for you. And then question 8, if you're curious to learn how an object works, one of the first things you do is A, listen to the sounds it makes. B, ask someone else how it works. C, find an illustrated diagram of its operation. D, physically manipulate the object. E, research the origins of the object's name. F, take measurement of the object such as size and weight. And G, find some place quiet where you can figure out how the object works without asking anyone wh- with without anyone asking what you are doing. So finding like a quiet corner in a classroom or whatever, out the way of everyone. So again, pick the letter that best suits you. I'll give you a minute and then we'll go through what each letter means. Right, so if you count up how many letters you have, so you might have some different letters. You might have a mixture of A and B or B and G, for example, but count up the letter which is most often the one you chose in your quiz, and then we'll go through each one. So if you've got mostly A's out of your quiz, you're an audio learner. So that means that you may prefer to learn and revise by reading assignments out loud, choosing certain music to listen to in the background for each class, and asking the teacher to walk through information dense assignments by talking about the highlights. If you are mostly B, that's a social learner. So group learning is the best option for you. Forming small study groups, taking part in broad class discussions, and even finding peers online with whom you can discuss the material is how you prefer to take in information. C, if you're mostly Cs, this is where you're a visual learner, so you respond best to bright colours, interesting images, and easy to read fonts. You may also prefer slide presentations, taking notes on colourful paper, or using images as remembrance devices. If you're mostly D, this is where you might benefit from squeezing a stress ball or a fidget toy during class and revision. You can also play memory games that include physical activity and tapping your feet on the floor in a rhythm as you study. E, that's a verbal learner. You need to talk things through to understand them. That's why some best practices for you might include taking verbal quizzes or talking to yourself while writing. F, that's when you're a logical learner, so you rely on logic to help understand various concepts. You may benefit from looking for patterns, quantifying answers, and methodically working through problems. And finally, if your majority of your answers were G, this is where you prefer to learn without disruption and you feel a personal interest in your revision. A quiet study area might help, and where you can have time to examine materials on your own and create personal goals for working through revision at your own pace works best. So once you've worked out what type of learner you are, if you write it down on your piece of paper, Amber and Suki, do you know what type of learner you two are?
I'm pretty sure I'm a visual learner. I did take the quiz alongside you, and mostly C's. So
Perfect,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, I'm a visual learner as well.
I got the same one as well. I got visual learner. A lot of visual learners here today.
That's quite a lot. I think quite a few people, like quite a high percentage of people, are visual learners. But it just depends on what type of learner you are. There's no right or wrong answer at all.